Welcome to Real Women's Stories. For anyone that is new to Real Women's Stories, you have just landed on my coaching episode. I release 2 episodes a week. One is a guest interview and the other is a coaching episode. And this particular series, I'm going to be sharing some of my stories with you because I feel that it's important that you guys understand and connect with me on a personal level, because this podcast is about sharing our stories and sharing our feelings and sharing our challenges through life. And I feel that it's time that we got to know each other a little bit more and a little bit better. So I hope you allow me this space to do so, because I do feel that if you understand me a little bit more, then you will be able to, I guess, use some of the tools and practices that I share in my coaching in your everyday life, because they do work, because I've had to do a lot of work on myself within my own coaching journey and throughout life in order to be able to deliver this podcast to you and to be able to show up as I am, as the Real Woman Coach. Now, today's topic is, for me, I'm going to be sharing something with you. So the topic today is confidence. And I just want to really express confidence is not something that just happens. It's not a feeling, an emotion that we just have in our everyday life. We may feel confident in certain situations, but we also may feel very unconfident in certain situations. And it's the feelings and emotions that we, I guess, produce when we go through certain things in our lives that create that little bit of anxiety, that make us feel unconfident. So, what is confidence to you? What do you feel that confidence is? Because, confidence means something different to everybody else. So, for me, I think I just want to share with you my interpretation of confidence. So, confidence is believing in myself and trusting my gut. It's about pushing through that fear and judgment. So I just like to ask you the question, what does confidence mean to you? So confidence to me, it's about believing in myself. It's about trusting my gut. It's about trusting my instincts and about pushing through that fear and that judgment. And it's about feeling good and holding on to that feeling. And, confidence takes practice, but the more you do it, the better that you feel. It's, it's about, it's not feeling nervous. It's about trusting yourself enough to show up and just do it anyway, even when you're not sure how the situation's going to pan out, how you're going to feel in that situation. That's what confidence means to me. But I had to learn that. I had to dig deep, and I had to go through my own journey through life and go through my own coaching journey to really understand those elements that I've just talked about. I'm going to share with you a story, if I may, and it's a story that takes me way back till I was a little girl, because when I was younger, I was determined, I was outspoken. I I had no cares about what other people thought of me because I just owned that space. When I was younger, I wanted to be on stage. I'm not sure where it came from. I'm not sure how it transpired in me, but I had this yearning, this big dream to stand on stage because I loved that feeling of feeling confident, of being confident, of owning that space, of having a voice, of having, I don't know, having a moment where I could hold that space for other people and give them joy and enjoyment. And I love seeing people's reaction when I was younger, where I used to stand up in a room, and my grandparents used to have big parties, and I'd stand up on a chair and I'd sing from the top of my voice. And I didn't have a care in the world. I just loved that feeling. So as I went through my life, that was my big dream. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to be an actress. And as I got older, I thought, well, where can I take this? And I thought, I'm going to go to drama school. I'd heard about friends. Some of my friends had been to drama school when they were younger. Um, but I wanted to do this as a profession. I wanted to own that space. I wanted to step on stage and be that person. So I auditioned for drama school, and um, I was lucky enough to get into an accredited drama school in London and was awarded a scholarship. But you know what? I remember my first day walking into that space, and I didn't feel confident. I suddenly had this voice in my head saying, what if you're not good enough? What if you're not as good as anyone else that's going? You're only 17. Um, I'd heard that there were older people that went to drama school, or some of the people that were going had previous, stage backgrounds, or they'd been at stage school in their younger years. And there was me, just, a girl from Northwest London walking into this big stage school, not knowing what I was walking into. And that's really for me when my voice appeared in my head and was telling me that I wasn't good enough. And that's when I started losing that self-belief that was this the right space for me to be in? Why should I be in this space? Why did I deserve this place at drama school? And for me, that's when things probably started falling apart. Can you remember a time where you had a big dream? Maybe you were the same age as me, you were younger. I was only 17 when things started sort of, appearing as a negative for me. When did things start showing up for you? Was there a time where you had this, I don't know, dream or aspiration? Did you want to be an artist? Did you want to be a businesswoman? Did you have high hopes and aspirations of going to university? And then suddenly you get there and you just don't feel good enough. You're worried about how people are going to perceive you. You're worried about how you look. You're worried about how you come across, how you speak, how you sound. That's when it all started to go wrong for me. And then what happened was I graduated from drama school. I actually tried to leave about 3 times. But my dad and the principals of the drama school were like, look, you've been awarded a scholarship. You can't walk away from this. You need to pursue it. You need to, push through it. So I did push through it, and I did graduate. And when I graduated, I again just thought, well, I've been to drama school now, and this is it. Maybe my dream's never going to come true. So I started playing small. I was scared to go to auditions, and things really didn't go in that direction for me. I turned myself into the business world. I started applying for jobs, and I had some really successful jobs, and I set up companies for people throughout my life. But that voice in my head just never went away. And even though I pushed through, and even though I took on challenges in my life, and I tried to put myself out there, and I did practice confidence, and I did try and push through things, I just don't think I was the person that I am now. And it took a lot of practice for me to do that. And to be fair, I think the turning point in my life was when my grandma passed away. My grandma was huge in my life. I remember, and I don't know if you have someone similar in your life, where they well, my grandma just used to tell me that, she believed in me, but I never heard that voice. I just kept hearing that negative imposter syndrome voice in my head saying, you're not good enough. This is all you can do in your life. And yeah, I was still determined. But it really wasn't until grandma passed away. That's when things started shifting, because I was holding on to her voice, and her voice became so much stronger than that negative voice in my head. And it was her voice that told me that I should believe in myself. It was my grandma's voice that told me that I should trust my instincts and that I should step into myself and that I shouldn't be afraid of my own voice. I shouldn't sit small. I should be courageous and I should start turning up my own volume. And what I discovered was coaching. So, coaching for me changed my whole life because my coach gave me the space to use my voice, to tell her all my dreams and my aspirations. And together we unpicked what the barriers were that were preventing me from being that younger person who I was with these big dreams, with these big aspirations. And it was me that was holding myself back because I just kept listening to that negative voice in my head, the imposter syndrome that had now come on my journey with me throughout my life. And I had to learn to turn that volume down. And I only found that volume button because my grandma's voice became stronger and my coach taught me how to turn that voice down. And I think it was a workshop that she was running, and someone gave me this amazing analogy that has stuck with me and that I have been using with my clients. Just imagine you're going on a car journey and you've got imposter syndrome with you. First of all, what does your imposter syndrome sound like? Does she tell you that you're not good enough? Does she tell you that you don't deserve to be here? Does she tell you not to speak up because your voice won't be heard? Let's go on that car journey with her. But this time, she's not going to sit next to you in the front seat. You're going to put her in the back seat. And there's no arguments on this ride. She's going in the back seat, she's buckling up, putting on her seatbelt, and you are in the driver's seat. You're holding that steering wheel, and you are the person that's driving the car. And you're going somewhere where you might going to feel a little bit nervous, where you need to feel confident and you want to step into yourself. You might be driving towards somebody who you're going to have a conversation with. You might be driving to a new job. You might be driving into, I don't know, you could be going back to study again. You're going to a class. You could be driving to have a first date with somebody. And then all of a sudden, that voice in the back seat starts talking to you and starts telling you all the bad stuff that's going to happen. But you know what we're going to do this time, because we are in control of that car. We're holding on to that steering wheel really tight and we are in control. We know where we're going. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to gently turn that volume button down, because we all have volume buttons in our cars, on our music systems, on our sat nav systems, and we are just going to turn that volume down. And once we've turned that volume down, what voice can you hear? Because there's only one other voice that you can hear, and that's going to be your voice. Your voice that's going to rise above the voice that isn't there anymore, because you've quite frankly turned that volume down. She might be sitting in the back seat and you've acknowledged her, but today, thank you, you're going to stay in the back seat on this journey, and I'm going to keep your volume turned down. And now I'm going to listen to my voice, and my voice is saying, I'm not going to make excuses for who I am. I'm going to believe in who I am. I'm going to use my voice because I trust my instincts and I know that this space is the space for me. Isn't that much more empowering? And don't you feel much better now? Because when I say those words, I feel better. I feel more confident. I feel more fulfilled. And I feel that whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to own that space and step into it. And recently, I have been stepping right out of my comfort zone. I've been preparing for a live speaking event that I'm doing next week. And this was the reason why I wanted to do this particular podcast and cover this particular topic. Because for me, confidence is practice. Imposter syndrome is that voice that comes into your head and tries to scupper that confidence. So let's turn that imposter syndrome down. Let's put that voice in the back seat of the car. Let's take control of the situation, and let's feel the confidence that we have and that we should have, that we've been practicing. And I've been practicing my content for the speaking event, and this episode is helping me reframe how I'm feeling, because by speaking my truth, by speaking about feeling confident, and by practicing being confident, I know that I'm going to show up next week remembering this episode, remembering this coaching episode that I'm delivering to you, so I can step into that space and be confident. That's really why I wanted to deliver this coaching episode today. And I have shared quite vulnerably how I used to feel when I was younger. And, you know, my journey just went on a very, very different trajectory. But what I do know now, being in my 50s, being in my midlife, I can truly and honestly say that I don't mind the sound of my own voice, that I do like my voice, and I do believe in what I say. And I'm hearing other people when they feed back to me and they tell me, you know what, Lisa, you've spoken like this since you were 17 years old, and there's nothing that's changed about you. And that's an interesting thing in itself, because although I might have spoken like this, I didn't truly believe it. I didn't truly feel it until now. And now I feel it. And now I believe in myself. I don't feel those nerves. I don't allow that negative voice in my head to come through. I turn her down and I listen to my grandma's voice telling me, Lisa, you should believe in yourself. I'd like you to think about, is there someone in your life? Do you have a grandma? Do you have a person, a friend who has that positive voice that comes through? Why not this week turn your imposter syndrome down, put her in the backseat of the car, and why not turn up the volume of your friend's voice, of your grandma's voice, of your husband's voice, whoever it is that lifts you up. Listen when someone pays you a compliment. Listen when someone fills you up with positivity and tells you and gives you the acknowledgements and gives you the compliments. Those are the things that you need to hold on to in your life, because then when you hear them and you feel them, you can start practicing feeling confident and believing in yourself. Confidence is a practice, and confidence needs to be owned. So I would like to task you with one thing that you can do this week where you can step into a space and you can feel confident. Is there a situation where you can speak up and have a voice and have an opinion because you truly believe that your opinion matters? Is there a situation in your workplace where, when you're in a meeting that normally you'd sit small, that you can find your voice to speak up? Is it that you would like to appear on my podcast, that you have a story that you would like to tell and you would like to get in contact with me and come on a journey with me, and we can talk about uncovering your challenges? How confident would that make you feel? How incredible would that make you feel? Because honestly, this podcast, Real Women Stories, is about sharing our stories, sharing our challenges, sharing our emotions, sharing our beliefs, and owning who we are. Because it's just so important in our lives that we just don't waste any more time. Let's step into a space and be ourselves. If this episode has touched a nerve with you, if you feel that any of the topics that I've covered have really struck a chord with you, and you would like some support in kind of going through a few practices and helping you get rid of your imposter syndrome, helping you step into the space so you can make changes and positive changes in your life, that you can shift your mindset. If this is the kind of work that you feel that you would like to do, then why not get in touch with me? My email address is lisa@realwoman.coach. It's lisa@realwoman.coach. I've done a lot of work on myself, and it does take work. And if you would like my support, and if you would like me to guide you through a journey where you can start to feel more confident in your life, start to show up in relationships and in friendships and in situations, really owning that space, and you just don't know how to, then it would be my absolute pleasure to help you. So my email address is lisa@realwomen.coach. And if these episodes are helpful to you, I'm going to be delivering more episodes this series. And if you're new to Real Women's Stories coaching episodes, we've got loads for you to re-listen to. There are so many. I think in the whole of Real Women's Stories, we've probably got now about 60 episodes. So why not go back and listen? There may be some useful tools and practices that I've shared, that my guests have shared, that could help you so you just don't feel like you're alone. And that's the reason why I started Real Women's Stories, to build a community for people to listen to. So, like, you've got friends around you, and when you feel a little bit down, or you're not sure about your life, or you just need a bit of a kick up the backside, that's what Real Women's Stories is about. It's about sharing, it's about caring, and it's about owning our space and believing in ourselves, because no matter what we go through in our lives, we all experience similar emotions. We've all got similar limiting beliefs. Why not join me for my next guest episode of Real Women's Stories? Sisters.